finally back at it. It's probably been about 4 weeks since I pulled this thing apart. Gotten all the bits. I've now put the piston on. So it's just a replacement standard piston. New gasket. I will grab the barrel and start feeding it on. Okay, we have the barrel back on. I have the timing chain just still loosely looped through here. Got two 10mm at the back here done up. And you can see the new pistons in there. I'll clean this up a bit and then I'll grab the head. Alright, barrel's all cleaned up, ready for the head. Fresh gasket, head's all cleaned up. It's over here. That'll do me. Let's get that bad boy dropped on, eh? Okay, head's been dropped on. I've got the two nuts just loosely wound on there. Now I'm going to drop these head bolts back in, referring back to the placements that I've put due to the different lengths. Alright, so chuck them back in where they came from. Okay, I had to pull it all apart again. Well, some of it apart. I had to pull the head back off because I forgot to put the timing chain guides back in. So, head came back off. The front guide was put in. The rear guide was put in. Head got dropped back on. Tensioned these up, the head bolts, to 29 foot-pound because I have a foot-pound tension wrench. I have aligned this to the T mark in there for top dead center, and now I can set the cam in and align the cam sprocket. Okay, the crank's down on the T, down in there, top dead center. I've aligned these so the camshaft has those lines flat across the top, okay, with the end of the camshaft, and then the chain is on the bottom bolt hole, as you can see just there, so the lower of the two holes on the pulley. That's a dowel, a locating dowel. So this will be the bolt hole right there. We'll get one bolt in and then we'll move the crank around until we can get the second bolt in, and we'll lock it all together with the locking tab. Alright. As you can see, it's starting to get really dark and cold out here. I've got the tensioner back in, down there. I'll put that bracket onto that pipe later when I've put this back on here. I've got to remove this side cover so I can replace some washers in the gearbox, in the clutch pack. I have sealed up the rocker and I've just got to do the valve clearances, and I'm going to call it a night. So I'm setting the valve clearances at 8 and 10, and maximums 10 and 13. 13 being exhaust, 10 being the intake. So I'm going to go 8 and 10, which is sort of mid-range of where they're supposed to be set cold. Let's get these valve clearances done and get inside. Alright, time to pack up for the night. Valve clearances are done. What else to do? Put the pipe back in. Blocked off the intake just in case something decides to crawl in there overnight. Put the breather hose back on. And yeah, that'll do me. Let my stand down, taking the weight off that. all going well. I'll get back to this tomorrow. Next day, rock cover's on. Turns out that I'd left out the shim, half moon shim that locks the cam in place. So I had to pull that back off again, drop that back in, tighten that back up, turn it around. Now I'm going to pull the clutch cover off. I've got some washers in there I need to replace. So I'll just change the mounting points to here so I can sort of clear the cover. I'll have to pull off this, and this, and then we should be able to access what we need. And hopefully not make too much mess in the process. But anyway, at least it's getting there, slowly. Clutch basket's off. Oh, sorry, clutch cover's off. Got to pull the clutch basket off. Yeah, as per usual, made a bloody big mess. So I've just spent 20 minutes cleaning that up. And yeah, get further in there and I'll find those washers I need to replace. Alright, clutch is off, clutch basket's off. It's all down here, all cleaned up a bit, smooth surface is off. I've replaced this thrust washer just here, between it and its mate, which is the other new one, just there. But the old ones are like this. See how it's all burred up? So nothing was really particularly smooth in there. It was bind up, and the clutch would drag. It was really weird. So I'm going with that. We'll see if I'm right. Anyway, this is a repair that I should have done about 5 years ago, if not more. Alright, I'll put this back together. I'll find the spec to tighten up the nut, which is this big one here. There's the order in which those parts go, and you can see here the parts that I'm replacing is 16 and 16. So thrust washer. Alright. Alright, so I'll start putting this thing back together, and the clutch should be fine because it was changed the last time I did this part. When I was first chasing this problem, diagnosed this, and then I put this bike aside for another bike. Alright, back together. Just got to put the brake and the kickstarter back on, and then a little bit of the peg. No, it's just been a bit of a nightmare. It's now starting to get dark again, so hopefully I'll just get these two on and that'll call it quits for the night. And tomorrow we'll recommence with carby going back on, seat, fuel tank, coil, and all the associated bits and pieces.